a story you've been working on for quite some time finally come out, and it takes so much for me to read something, and that's just like a normal article. And this was way more than a normal article.
Right.
It is almost like it's like a book in itself, but it was so worth reading. But I got to tell you, like it took me so long to read this thing because I have the reading comprehension of like a literal first grader. But this story about Drew Robinson that came out, and there's an E60 along with it, or ESPN Plus special. But it is incredible. It's very powerful. It's obviously very serious, and it's a topic that needs to be discussed a lot more in the world. And I love that you brought light to it. But just tell us a little bit about Drew Robinson.
Drew Robinson was your typical baseball player who makes it up to the big leagues and is sort of on the cusp. You know, he's not a superstar. He's not someone you may know about. If you followed the Texas Rangers or the St. Louis Cardinals, who he played in the big leagues for, you may remember him because he had some personality and was a very well-liked guy. But you know, that was one of the many interesting things about him, that as much as publicly he looked like the happy-go-lucky guy, he had been harboring feelings of depression, poor self-worth, and all of the things that come from a place of bad mental health, really for like almost 2 decades. And had been wearing it on the inside, even though he had so many people to talk to, his parents, his siblings, the girlfriend, fiance who he had in his life and still is in his life now. Even though he had all these people, he didn't realize that he could talk with them. And things built up, the pandemic hit, he went home, he was alone, and he decided he was going to end his life. And he shot himself in the head, and he lived. And that is the beginning of what I think is an incredibly inspiring story, not just because he got a second chance at life, but what he's trying to do with it. His purpose right now, as much as it is to come back and play baseball, which is a ridiculous thing to do after you've lost an eye having shot yourself, is bigger than that. He wants to help people, and he wants people to avoid this awful thing that he went through and to know that there are alternatives to it.
Yeah. I thought specifically when he talked to the Giants team, he was asked to come speak, and the people that came up to him afterwards and were like, that was incredible, that was powerful, like that type of stuff. That's what he's doing. Yeah, and obviously it's inspirational in itself that he's attempting to play baseball again, and somehow, like, it seems like kind of succeeding in that sense. And he's got this spring training invite to the Giants, with the minor league camp, whatever. And he's hitting balls again at high velocity, whatever. That's crazy. But yeah, him telling his story. And I thought this was a specific quote from your article that really spoke to me, and I think it's gonna. This just like people need to save this quote, and whenever they're down or whatever, it's huge, but. He says, I never will hold back from asking or telling someone, even if it's something simple. Hey, this little thing's annoying me today. Just tell them. They want to hear it. People that love you want to hear it. If you don't have people that love you, therapists want to hear it. People want to help you. Professionals want to help you. So many people in this world are willing to help anyone going through these things. It might be a specific situation that makes it feel like you're alone, but you're never alone. I thought that was very powerful. That was huge by him to say that. And I think a lot of people, if you're struggling out there with mental health and, during quarantine, I thought that was another thing that was very interesting, how you never really think of, like, you have this support system usually, you have people you can go to, just feel comfortable around people, and then quarantine happens, and you're so alone, like he was. And it's like, it's just a mental toll on you. I think a lot of people had that, myself included, not to his extent, but, like, definitely got very low during quarantine with, just the pandemic and, like, staying in your apartment nonstop. You can't go outside. It's very depressing. And obviously way more on others too. But, yeah, I just thought his story was really powerful. It's incredible what he's doing. And good on you for telling the story. And I know you took a while. Like, you were working on this for months, right?
I'm sorry, that was all very profound, but I'm stuck on the fact that as someone with a first grade reading level, you actually went through that and sounded like a reasonably competent human being. So, bravo.
All right.
Very
Maybe
impressed.
the most fluent Hubs has ever spoken.
I know. I only started. Wait. I guess Syracuse taught me maybe.
How
yeah.
many times did you practice that in the mirror?
Not
last
once.
Night?
No. Appreciate it. I'll take a compliment from Jeff Passan any day of the week. So let's go.
This has been a long time coming, and look, April 16th was the day that he shot himself, and he was out of the hospital 12 days later, went to a mental hospital for 5 days, and a mental health hospital rather, and was out of that. So he was home after 17 days, and he knew pretty early on he wanted to talk. And I was concerned, right?
Yeah.
Is he ready? Is this what he really wants? He hasn't even seen what life is going to be like, what the struggles are going to be like, as good as he is now. And I think he's in a good place right now. Tomorrow can bring something different. And the reason that we're comfortable running this story now about him is because what he's done is put his money where his mouth is. It's not just talking to people, but it's taking every day to prioritize his health above all. And that is something that all of us, I think, whether it's because of our jobs monopolizing our times, because of relationships, because of kids, because of obsessions, whatever it may be, we sometimes lose track of the fact that our brain is the thing that carries us through every day. And we need to treat it the same way that we do our bodies when we're going to the gym or we're choosing the food that we eat, or any of the decisions we make. It's almost like the most important organ in the body is the one that we think about the least.
Yeah.
And Drew's whole idea here is to look at the brain the same way that he does his swing. I mean, that is, like athletes think about themselves through that physical prism, right? What can I do to perform? And performance is always measured by strength and measured by might and measured by, the mental will to like fight through injuries, but not to put yourself in a place where you are mentally in a good position to succeed. And, we got to stop looking at performance just through like a physical prism. But we have to understand that the brain is involved in all of these elements too. And that what applies to athletes applies to everyday people as well. It applies to the two of you guys. It applies to me. It applies to everyone who's listening here.
Yeah, no doubt.
What do you think overall this story means on a bigger picture of what it's like to be a minor leaguer? Life in the minors where people bounce back and forth and, they're not paid very well. They're cutting minor league teams. And there's, I'm sure, a lot of minor leaguers that are not in a great mental state because of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. Minor league baseball sucks. And it sucks because the pay is, in most cases, below minimum wage. It sucks because the accommodations are embarrassing. It sucks because organizations, in a lot of cases, unless you're a bonus baby or one of the best prospects, treat you, like capital as opposed to a human being. You're an asset, and it's the way that the game has evolved right now. And for Drew, listen, getting called up to the big leagues is phenomenal. There's a point in the movie though, where I asked him about the first hit he had in the big leagues, and it was a home run at Yankee Stadium off Michael Pineda.
Yep.
Heard that one before.
Yep.
I asked him, how long did that incredible feeling last? And he says, until the next day when I got sent down. And he laughs. And it's like, it's such gallows humor that baseball players, especially, guys who are seen as up and down guys like Drew was, you have to have it. And, as much as he did, in the end, it wasn't what made him do what he did. But I certainly think that the rigors of the game contributed to it.
Yeah, no doubt. The amount of times he was sent back and forth, and you detail that, is like legitimately jarring. I thought something on a little bit of a lighter note from the story. Incredible. Just you don't think about like the person who paints his eye, but like that person is like as good at her. She was as good at her job as I've ever seen before in my like. It was crazy how she just does that, and it's so important. It's guy's eye. It's just how he's gonna be viewed by other people. So that was insane to me.
Listen. I'm with you when he got the eye. He sent me a picture, and I've seen his face enough that I know which side it happened on. But I zoomed in, like I pinched and pulled out on my phone, and I went into it's uncanny. How, like, if you're that close in and you ask someone which one of these is real and which isn't, they would have no idea. Yeah. And yet it's like you said, it's an important thing. He doesn't wear the prosthesis all the time, just because it can kind of be annoying, or sometimes he wants people to see what he looks like right now. Right. When the bullet hit the eye, it shattered the orbital bone, and they had to rebuild that using titanium, and they had to put in an implant there where the eyeball used to be. And that is part of who he is. He wears it almost as a badge of pride, right? Yeah. Like, look how fucking strong I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I got past this, and that's why he saves the bullet too. It's like a little reminder of I got past this. I had the strength to do this. Yeah, so it's an incredible story. We'll definitely link to it when we tweet out this podcast and everything. And I'm an idiot, and I didn't realize that it was an hour-long thing on ESPN Plus. I just read the article, obviously, but there's also a whole 1 hour thing on ESPN Plus.
I was gonna say you could have avoided the whole reading thing that's so difficult for you just by turning on your TV. This is not difficult.
Realizing it 2 hours ago, finding it on ESPN Plus, I literally just was at my desk and I was like, you have to be, because I'm such a movie guy over reading a book or anything. But honestly, sometimes when you just read a thing like that, it hits. You comprehend it more and you pay more attention to detail. So I was happy to read it. That was very cool.